I've got a riddle for you. What is the name of a place full of fruits and nuts that also has become synonymous with bad governance? Hey, welcome back to the Colorblind Architect Podcast. I'm your host, David, and I am coming you from the People's Republic of California. That's right. I am on a business trip down here, and it is a beautiful place. I honestly, it almost makes me cry every time I visit California and think, wow, this place should be a lot better than it is, because it's a beautiful, beautiful state. Just gorgeous geography. The weather is gorgeous. I mean, so much is great about California. And then yet, it's saddled with a lot of bad government. And you can't help but wonder, why? Why is there so much trouble in California? Why do we have in California, why is there a governor who's being recalled right now? I mean, how is that possible that the people keep voting horrible people in? Well, I think this is one of those things that, especially in conservative circles, this has been for a long time a conversation. And in fact, in a lot of conservative states like Utah, you'll find a lot of people actually being afraid. They're actually afraid of Californians moving in because they're worried that they're going to vote the same way that they do here. One of the things that I think is a little bit different, though, outside of California, is outside of California, there's not a single party ballot. So California is kind of a weird place. One of the things that they have is a system where instead of each political party being able to post a candidate on the ballot, in the general election, only the top two candidates from the primary get put on the ballot. Now, typically, this means that only the Democrats end up being on there, because usually the top two Democrat candidates will both get the number one and number two slots as a plurality. So even if you could theoretically have a more popular Republican, they wouldn't win in the primary, because there's so many more Democrats who regularly vote in California that it's unlikely that they'd be able to pull off anything. And so it's become essentially a single party state run by the Democrats. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you have a bunch of people who basically agree with each other. And anytime you get a bunch of people who basically agree with each other, they can convince each other of really crazy ideas. You know, in the Catholic Church, especially in the choosing of a new pope, there's a process where, while they're choosing the new pope, all the cardinals, they meet in the Sistine Chapel, and famously they've got the puffs of smoke of different colors that come out of the chimney, indicating to the rest of the world whether the balloting has gone one way or the other as they select the new pope. Well, as part of that process, they have one of the cardinals that will be assigned to be what's called the devil's advocate. A devil's advocate in this situation is literally the person's job is to counter. They basically try to say whatever's opposite of whatever everybody else is trying to say. And they try to bring up all the arguments against a particular line of thinking. So if the majority of the cardinals are all saying, hey, we need to choose this cardinal over here for the new pope because he's just great. Well, the devil's advocate's job, even if he agrees, is to come up with ideas and come up with questions that call into question that individual being considered. Why is this important? Well, in any organization, there is a tendency towards what's called groupthink. Groupthink, essentially where everybody gets in a room and they start agreeing with each other. And so it's always important to have somebody in the room who is questioning everything, who makes it difficult for everybody to just easily accept. The idea is that you need to be able to have people carefully consider and think about their ideas. And sometimes when you have a groupthink type of mentality where everybody's just agreeing, it's really easy to make bad choices because everybody will get all super excited, like, oh, yes, that's the way we're going to go. But the challenge with that is, like, you're not considering the opposite points of view. So if you have everybody in the same party politically, right, you're going to end up with everybody kind of going, ooh, yeah, that's a great idea. And nobody asking the alternative. And I think this happens with Democrats and Republicans. It happens with every political party, is there's going to be a bit of groupthink, largely because typically people of the same political party will agree. So in what happened with the work that I'm doing, today we had a lot of meetings and we were poking holes in each other's ideas. We kept probing. It was a very healthy discussion because the product that we're working on is one where we needed to question those things because there's a lot of risks involved if we get this wrong. And so we wanted to make sure that it's a solid product. It's a solid plan so that when customers buy it, right, you want to be able to have the customers happy instead of disappointed because, oh, well, there's this one thing that went wrong and now all of a sudden that's all they're talking about and you've got negative press and now all of a sudden your company's imploding because you've got negative press and people complaining about a product that might not be that bad, but there was this one thing and it might have just been a fatal flaw because nobody questioned that one thing, right? And I think the same thing's true in all walks of life. So be a devil's advocate. No matter where you are, no matter what place in life you are, I'm sure you're in some kind of situation where you're going to have times when people are just going crazy, going off in the wrong direction. And if nobody's asking the hard questions, if nobody's questioning, then yeah, you're going to have some bad decisions. So that's my point. Be a devil's advocate. Don't become the California of your life. And with that, man, and I really would, no, seriously, I love California. I just wish it wasn't such a horrible government here. And, to their credit, it's not the worst. I mean, it could be, it could be like, North Korea, right? That would be a lot worse. But it's still pretty bad. I mean, like, they still don't have open movie theaters and their COVID cases are off the charts low right now. And it's like, I mean, how are you going and shopping at the grocery store with tons of other people during the pandemic and yet you're scared to sit in a movie theater? I mean, it's so bizarre to me, but whatever. Hey, I'm just happy that I'll be going back home. By the time this is viewable on YouTube, I'll already be either on the airplane or back in Utah, and I'll be very happy to be home where there's a good bit more freedom, a good bit more of the lifestyle I enjoy, even though, yeah, this is a beautiful place. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Be a devil's advocate, question everything. And with that, I say, I'm the colorblind architect. Peace out.